Good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to One Hub Racing Season 24, round number 5, as we head to another European track, the Circuit Paul Ricard, for the French Grand Prix. First use in Formula 1 back in 1971. The French Grand Prix has been staged on 16 circuits throughout the years, mainly public roads. I remember Le Mans being one of the famous courses as well, Magny-Cours, which I have to say was amazing, hosted F1 until 2008, and now we're here at Paul Ricard. My name is Jess Ball, one of your commentators throughout this evening's race. Max will be joining me very, very shortly. And since we've got qualifying adapted weather carnage, we are going to start the stream early so we can talk and get the standings out the way, have a bit of pre-race interview talk, and make sure we get at least one lap in during qualifying. So, last week's race, well, it was very, very interesting in terms of the championship. Ben Mills, who had floor damage towards the end, which he didn't even know about, he managed to take his first win in One Hub Racing, which was really, really good for him. Samba finished in second, a good recovery from him, and Aiden finished in third. What does that do to the drivers' standings? Now, you can see it on your screen now. Aiden is currently leading that on 80 points. Samba in second on 71 points. Ben Mills in third on 62. I need to make it a bit bigger, don't I? There we go. Bryn Evans in fourth on 44. J. Cole in fifth on 40. Links in sixth on 36. Owen Wyatt in seventh on 32. Colin in eighth on 30. Then we got Chalkers in 11th on 21. Joint with Larkin. Then we have Nick in 11th on 18 points. We've got Casper on 16. Nave Clark on 15. Then we got Matt on 13. Dane Star on 11. Lakita in 9 points. Lakita unfortunately can't make it tonight due to him stuck in an accident. I send thoughts and prayers for everyone involved in that. Hopefully Lakita is okay. And then we have Lights of Extreme. And that's it. We got a few dropouts. Unfortunately, Jensen can't make the rest of the season now. Then we've got the manufacturers standings, which I will go through in just a moment. There we go, I've got it right up. So we've got AlphaTauri currently leading on 124 points. Then we got Ferrari in second on 92. They were quite close in terms of points in round number 4, where AlphaTauri scored, I think, 20 points, whereas Ferrari scored 24 points. Williams in third on 75 points. Alpine in fourth on 61. Williams ended up getting the most points in the end in the last race. Alfa Romeo in fifth on 51. Sixth is Mercedes on 48. McLaren in seventh on 35. Haas in eighth on 30. Red Bull in ninth on 16. And Aston Martin in 10th on 13 points. So that is your constructors standings as well, which is quite interesting. And it gives me loads of time to talk about the drivers' press conference and the rivalries before we head to the main action. So, drivers' press conference Lakitu was called into that one. Unfortunately, he can't make it, but I'll still say his answer anyway because, well, I thought it was pretty amped as well. So, he was asked, overall, how are you feeling with your season so far? Plenty of points and positions to be gained. Where do you feel you can pick up points or potentially sneak a podium? He said, things haven't gone well, to be honest. China has never been my track, and the last 2 races were a disaster, but I'm really looking forward to Mexico and Abu Dhabi, probably my 2 strongest tracks. I have to say, Lakita has probably a similar driving style characteristics as I do. So, completely understandable from his perspective on that one. So, and obviously with him not here tonight, he's going to lose out on a chunk of points, and with Aston Martin being last in the constructors, that's not going to help him one bit. Nick and Bryn were called into the rivalries as well, and the press asked, the stewards deemed your incident last week as NFA. Are you satisfied with the outcome? Water under the bridge now, yeah. And Bryn just responded with "Bois," which I find quite funny actually. So fair play to him on that one. And Nick said it was always going to be NFA. I just want a nice, peaceful life for the rest of the season. So my take on his response, that he's going to really focus on the rest of the season, not let the race just gone last week dwell on him a little bit too much. So that's what is going to happen. And just in time, we are right into the race action. So we're going to go through that with you right now. So here we are then, 80 minutes of qualifying, and it's kind of like one-shot qualifying if anything was to go by in the last few rounds. And with only 15 drivers and a few drivers taking their engine penalties, there's plenty of chances for people to climb their way up through the grid as quickly as they possibly can. So the drivers who have got engine penalties this week, it is, I need to find it. It is J. Cole and Casper. So those two will be doing their outlaps and they will be starting at the back of the grid this evening. So, but look at all these cars trying to make their way onto the grid as quickly as they can. The first driver out is Colin. So he's going to one who's going to have see the track conditions first, but as Casper's interestingly gone on the inters, okay, but I guess, oh yeah, he's got an engine wear penalty. I completely forgot about that. So yeah, last time we were here at Paul Ricard, can't remember what season it was. It was Samba that took the race victory last time we were here in Paul Ricard. So he's looking like he could be the favourite going into this one as well. We will ask his thoughts going into this in just a few moments' time. But we want to make sure we get a lap in as quickly as we possibly can as well. Let me find Colin in the pre-race interviews, actually. Hold on, there we go. So the drivers were asked, welcome to France, round 5 is upon us, ready to race or one you're not feeling too good about. He said not managed a lap of practice yet, so not feeling too confident. He's hoping it will be wet, but unfortunately it wasn't wet. And his thoughts about the circuit, the 456 miles of tarmac runoff. There is a bit of runoff, to be fair. He's not clear on strategy, but after what he saw in P3, he has an idea of his strategy a little bit more. So let's go on board, actually, with Colin as he's about to start his lap around the Paul Ricard circuit. So heading towards turn number 1. The exit of turn 1 is very crucial. It sets up the speed for this next section of the track. Fast left-hander, it can be taken flat up on this game. You have to have a little bit of a lift. Turn 3, a medium speed right-hander coming up, and the corner is quite long and have a slight camber change as you head towards turn 4. A slow left-hander that demands a good entry and exit. The drivers will have to avoid the curves coming up through these next sections of corners as you head towards turn 7. Heading towards this back straight now you're coming towards, and you're going to be using a lot of power and a lot of gear as well. Links has left the session. Hopefully we can get him in very soon. This is a Michel straight, high speed on the lap, over 300 kilometers an hour. Brake hard and late for turn 8. This is one of the most challenging corners of the circuit. If you get it right, this will help you to no end. Well, to good end, to be honest. Turn 9, fast left-hander, followed by turn 10, coming up to the technical sector 3, coming up now. Right-hander moves to the right as you possibly can. Trail braking, I think, is recommended around here, so if drivers know how to trail brake, this will definitely help a lot of these drivers. Now you're going to be heading towards turn 12, flicking the car to the right a little bit. He was struggling a little bit on entry as he heads towards the final few corners to finish off his lap. Let's see what he can do. The next person to cross the line will be Nick, so we will run on board with him in just a moment. But Colin goes up to the line, and it is a 129.2. Not too bad for him, but we know these drivers could go quicker. Nick is going to be next to cross the line, and then I think it'll be one of the Ferraris. I'm not sure which Ferrari it is, but Nick comes across on in P2, so not quite enough to beat his time. Ben Mills with a 28.7. That is quick off the bat. What could Samba do? The race winner from last time out in France, 28.663. And joining me in the commentary box just now, it is Max then. We got to drive to wet qualifying. That's why we had to start quite early. But first of all, Max, how are you doing?
I'm very good, Jess. Sorry I'm a little bit late. And yeah, happy to be back. And how is qualifying going so far, Jess?
Well, we just started, and we did 28.663 is the current pole time, and it's about to get very, very damp, as it were. Are you in the session yet?
No, I will send you an invite, please.
I will send you an invite, I think, after. I'll go through this qualifying session, and then I'll send you an invite, because it's going to get wet very quickly, if that's okay. As Aiden comes to the line in P3. Nath Clark's going to come up to the line as well. He's going to slot himself into P9. Matter coming across the line. What can he do? Williams scoring very well last time out at 29.7. So it is kind of like one-shot qualifying, and the nerves definitely must have set in for the drive, because Owen didn't get a lap in. Obviously, Casper and Jacob with the engine penalty, and Link's having trouble to get back into the session.
Yeah, 100%. Of course, when you have a qualifying like this where the rain is imminent and you need to get that one lap in instantly, the pressure does sometimes get to you because you know it's your only chance. And overall, it's also with France, it's a very easy circuit to get invalidations and penalties. So just running that tiny bit too wide or cutting too much of an apex, it really just affects your whole session. But overall, I think the drivers have done quite well. But yeah, for some of these drivers, the pressure certainly would have got to them. Even if they did set the lap time in the end, they might have just took it a bit easier, knowing the stakes of qualifying. So overall, some drivers might be a little bit out of position, but we surely should be in for a brilliant race. And France, plenty of overtaking opportunities. So we'll just have to wait and see how this goes.
Have you got Taz sorted, Max, before we carry on?
I'll quickly do that now. I think it's only like 1 or 2 changes.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Good job I reminded you there as well. But it is Nathan Sambert on top with a 28.6. Ben Mills in second with a 28.7. And he thinks that the conditions are going to get worse, so he's retired straight away. And he doesn't think he can improve. That's going to be interesting. Aiden has done the exact same thing. But there's a lot of other cars that are going quicker. Owen managed to get himself into P11. If I was him, I would have aborted that run. But in the P3 tier, I don't know what happened in the P2 tier because I didn't see it. In the P3 tier, it got to about 10 minutes and it was chucking it down. So these drivers got to get a move on. They've got to go as quickly as they possibly can. They've probably got to have the fastest outlap of their life here as they navigate this Paul Ricard circuit. And I think Colin's going to have... Once Colin knows it's slippy, we know everything is going to be slippy as well. And next, it will be after Colin, it will be Bryn. And then it will be, I think, Larkin as well. So let's have a little read through these pre-race interviews. We'll talk about J. Cole because J. Cole has got his engine penalty. J. Cole hasn't been too fussed this week about whether it's dry or wet. He enjoys it a lot on the game, but in the race calendar, not really that good of a watch. And he's open-minded about the strategy. And J. Cole, interestingly, when we were chatting to him, he only practices like with 20 minutes to go of the session. So he doesn't practice like us lot do. He pretty much just gets going pretty much with 20 minutes to go. Might have hindered him quite a bit in some races, but let's hope it doesn't. And I think he's probably chosen this track as his engine fan because he probably likes this circuit. But we'll see what everyone can do as they're about to start what potentially could be their final runs.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I've just got Taz set up for you, Jess.
Thank you. So, I'll get you the dashboard. Thank you very much.
No worries. It's going to be Colin who's going to be the first drivers on the second runs of qualifying. Probably the last runs these drivers will get because you can see it's getting very, very overcast as this session progresses. Heading now through the right hand, which then leads you down the Mistral straight. You're flat out, DRS open, and then this straight just feels like an eternity to get down. You're just waiting and waiting, setting yourself up for the chicane of 7, 8, and 9, I think it is, as we now head through the right-hander of 8, then into 9. Nicely done through there for Colin. Then you get back on the power and you go up the hill. You then lead up into the flat right-hander of turn 10, which then leads you into the probably trickiest corner on the circuit in my eyes. This really long right-hander. It's very tricky to get the car pointed in. Lots of natural understeer due to the camber, and then you head straight up into turn 12. Nicely done there from Colin to keep the car nicely pointed into the corner, managing that understeer quite nicely. 13 is that little kink right as you then head into 14, which then leads you into the final corner of 15. Try to get the best run possible out of the corner. DRS open for Colin. Where will this lap place him? It could be a lap that could be crucial for pole if he gets it, but no, he stays in P7. Only a half a tenth improvement there for Colin, but there's more drivers on laps, one of them being Bryn, who's now coming up to the line. He's down by half a tenth in the middle sector. He doesn't find an improvement overall. There was an Alpine of Larkin crossing the line. That's Nick going up into 7th now, just displacing his teammate Colin. And
Wow,
Samba
Samba.
extends these leads at the top. So 128.318. That's not getting toppled, I don't think, Jess, because the gap between him and the likes of Ben Mills and Aiden as well, that's just an absolutely monster lap from Nathan Samba.
I'm looking at the track. Like, in most conditions, in most tiers, we've seen the rain come down thick and fast now. Earlier on, like two minutes ago. Whereas in this tier, it is getting quite... I think I can't see the rain, so it might just be my spectator glitch, unfortunately. But it's definitely starting to come down. It's starting to come down thick and fast very, very soon. So for some people to have the best conditions, maybe they would have risked it and gone for another lap. But if I were them, I would probably retire. But I'm a bit shocked as there's no rain coming at the moment, because and now it is. Here it is. Here's the rain. So if you haven't finished your lap yet, then that's your qualifying done. So it is Samba that'll be on pole. He was fastest in every single sector. We couldn't see the other sectors because we couldn't get Taz up till now, but Samba is looking very, very quick and, in my opinion, favourite to win this race.
Yeah, he certainly is. Of course, took the engine penalty last time out and only finished, I think it was 2nd in the end. So still a really good drive from being at the back of the field, but he's back up at the top and he's looking like the driver to beat throughout this season. He's just been so quick and no one's really had a response to him. So we can only wait and see. The race will be up shortly. I don't expect any driver to be going back out. They should all just probably just press the retire button. I say that. Casper goes out on the circuit on a set of intermediates, so he might be just getting a handle of the circuit and maybe the car as well to see if the setup's working. But for Casper on the intermediates, but he'll probably retire very shortly.
Yeah, because obviously he's got his engine penalty to serve. He was just waiting until the wet conditions because he didn't want to use it on a dry track. No, he was going to lose a bit more grip, but he didn't want to retire and start behind J. Cole as well. So that wouldn't have been good as well. But yeah, it has definitely gotten worse, and I think we are definitely going to shelve these weather conditions, the dry to wet qualifying, because it's just like for some people that only have one chance, it kind of screwed up a little bit for them. But for certain people that were very confident about this circuit, there were some people that managed to get 2 runs in, which was really, really great to see. And it's like that it's full wets coming up, but it's actually not full wets. It's absolutely chucking it down. But obviously, we haven't set it to full wet, but it's just very, very slippery. When it rains in France, it definitely does pour. And we do have an announcement to talk you through about Fridays, but we will do that in just a moment. I just want to get Casper and J. Cole some screen time because they're absolutely loving life at the moment. But for drivers that haven't maybe synced a lap together, maybe the likes of Owen, the likes of Matt and Larkin, the ones who are near the bottom half of the grid, what do you think they would have been thinking right now? Do you think that maybe they should have maybe gone a bit later out on circuit? But it's just hard to predict with these conditions because in each tier it's different in terms of timing.
I mean, it's always a tricky one when it comes to these conditions, and for the drivers that weren't really able to pick up a lap, I mean, it's just unfortunate really. And overall, I would say for Ben and Aiden as well, they probably could have stayed out a little bit longer and done what everybody else did and did a second run in the session. But overall, that could still be a strategic decision from them. If there's a late safety car, they've got an extra fresh set of softs right there that they are able to use and overall get the best gain from them come the end of the Grand Prix. But for Ben and Aiden, if it wasn't strategical, they should have just tried sticking it out all the way till when the rain came. Yes, you might use an extra set of that softs, but at the end of the day, you're still in the fight all the way to the end. So overall, the drivers, they shouldn't be too disheartened. This circuit's easy to overtake. It's a long track as well. So overall, I feel like there's no reason to get your head down. It was pretty much a one-shot qualifying session, and there's a long race ahead. Strategy's going to be important. Tyre management's going to be important.
Yeah.
So is battery as well down the Mistral Straight. So it's just going to be an exciting one, and overall, many overtaking opportunity in this one, especially into the likes of Turn 1, the chicane of 7, 8, 9, and then, of course, into Turn 11 as well, the long right-handed hairpin. So many overtaking opportunities, so these drivers have plenty of chances to make that move.
Yeah, they will. It's a good time to chat about our sponsors, Max, because we have time. We've got 2 minutes left to go. So I think due to timing, we're going to have to probably potentially carry on. But we've got our sponsors, Pure Sim Gear, sponsoring the league by providing one item for free from their store to the person who has the most combined fast lap and poles. Aztec Sim Sports sponsors the league by providing some merch to the winner of One Hub Racing Driver Rankings. Our partners, Vespertine, partner with Vespertine, who supports our official apparel. Elite Racing Team, ERT Esports, partner the ERT Go and Get Stuff Award and lead trophies. Winner of Go and Get Stuff Award gets some ERT merch. And finally, powered by SimGrid, running through our seasons through their community and platform. And we have an announcement that was announced today. And it's the prizes that we are giving to some certain people, courtesy of Next Level Racing. So the Drivers' Championship prize, the Drivers' Championship for each tier will be put into a wheel to have a chance to win a Next Level Racing cockpit, an NLR FGT, which is worth £449. Top 3 championship prize, the top 3 of each tier will be winning a chance to win a Next Level Racing cockpit, a GT lightweight cockpit with £279 there. And then the top 3 get another chance of each tier will get another chance to win a Next Level Racing wheel stand worth £199. So thanks to our title sponsor, Next Level Racing, of course, for providing these prizes for this season. And a good announcement to announce earlier on today. An extra incentive for our drivers, Max.
Yeah, it certainly is. These prizes are quite big and quite a determining factor of these drivers wanting to of course win the championships in their respective divisions, or just get into that top 3 for a chance at the other 2 prizes. So I mean, it's just something that spurs the drivers on, makes them want to compete in every Grand Prix, with that chance of knowing that if they can hook up a good few races at the very least, they still have a chance of at the minimum winning a wheel stand. So it's something for these drivers to look out on, and I feel like it just brings that competition a bit more alive, having those prizes on the line.
Yes, indeed. We're about to end the qualifying session, and who knows? There could be. I think the battle for third in the Drivers' Championship is going to be insane. So I think the battle for those 2 wheel stands, I think it's going to be very, very intense. But we are going to go through the results of the qualifying session, so bear with us. We are going to get a dry qualifying session, so here we are then. We've got Nathan Sambert, 4/10 separating himself from Ben Mills. That is insane. And then we got Aiden in 3rd, Dane Star 4th, Bryn in 5th, Nick Clark in 6th, George in 7th, Nick 8th, Colin in 9th, Larkin rounds up your top 10. Then we got Owen and Matta in 11th and 12th. Links did not set a time. And then obviously Casper and Jaco taking their engine penalties. Mr. Sambert looking like the favourite. Ben Mills obviously came off the back of his race win last week. We haven't talked much about Ben Mills, but we thought that he was going to get a penalty for what happened with Nate Clark, but they had a bit of discussion and said that it was a part of racing sometimes that you do make contact like that. So, and obviously it was wet conditions, so no harm done from them. But Ben didn't mind rain, but unfortunately we didn't get it for the race. He's going into this race open-minded, hoping that his pace can be optimal irrespective of weather or strategy, and he's felt good after doing a bit of time trial. So Ben's looking confident. Samber's looking confident. We'll go through his interview in just a moment. But yeah, it should be interesting between these top 2 and maybe Aiden as well. I'm really excited to see how this race goes. We've seen in other tier, well, we've seen in P3 there was a lap 1 safety car. Safety cars, I think, are very minimal around this track. So they've got to be wary in terms of fuel as well. And obviously the understeering challenges of turn 11 and 12. That absolutely killed me in certain parts of the track.
Yeah, it's a very wide circuit, so overall safety cars are not too common around here. The only real chance you get them is if there's a huge pile-up, as you say, either on lap 1 or just at some point during the Grand Prix. But overall, this is a circuit where, as I said, many overtakes can be made, and you're not out of it until that final lap. This is a track where, overall, if there's a late safety car, give it 3 or 4 laps from the end. If you're down in P12, you've still got a chance of winning the Grand Prix, because this circuit is just so amazing with how many opportunities it gives you to make those moves. Where, I mean, it's a circuit where it's also challenging as well. You've got to be quite strict on yourself. You've got to be very precise to not pick up those penalties, and the challenges are quite major around some of these, some parts of this circuit. As you said, turns 11 and 12 quite understeery. You then have the very oversteery / understeery corner of, I think it's turn number 5, the right hander, which then leads you down the Mistral Straight. So overall, it's a circuit with its challenges, but it's a fun one to drive, and I'm sure these drivers will put on a show. And I think it's going to be an interesting one on strategy as well. Do drivers go for softs at the start or wait all the way to the end? Tyre wear's quite big around here, so we'll just have to wait and see.
Yes, indeed. I don't know why I keep saying yes, indeed, but that's probably my word of the day at the moment. But yes, good to see all of you watching in the chat. If you are liking this, make sure you give us a subscribe. As we're about to get underway, the 5 red lights are on for One Hub Races P1 tier around Paul Ricard, and we are underway. Samba gets a good start from Ben Mills. Dainstar getting a good start from Aiden as they all go side by side in towards turn number 1. A few people backing off there to avoid the potential carnage that is remaining. Dainstar with a good running in towards turn 2. Now in towards turn number 3, we've got the likes of George going side by side with Brim. We've got yellow flags in the background. That is Matter and Lynx have had a bit of coming together, I think, so a bit of a shame for them. But it's Hammer that leads, Ben second, Aiden third, Dainstar in 4th, Nate Clark in 5th. Being under pressure from Brim is not Brim's best start to a Grand Prix, but he could try and learn to recover from this. But apart from Lynx and Matter, they all made their way cleanly so far.
Yeah, very nicely done there from these guys. As here comes Bryn to the inside, and Nath Clark here. Can he get the move done? Nick is able to get past Owen Wyatt in the background as well. Nick going up into 8th place. And now here comes Owen Wyatt. He's fighting back here. He's going to that outside line. He's managed to get the move done. As also Nath Clark has got past Dainstar. We've got a real mix of mediums and softs throughout the field. Highest medium runner is Dainstar in 5th place, and everybody else around him is on the softs till you get to George down in 7th. But it does seem that the softs have that better start. But for Dainstar, he did actually get a good launch, go around the outside of Aiden, but compromised his run down into turn 3. And unfortunately, Aiden got the move done it once more. But all Dainstar needs to do now is just hold on slightly, and if he can do a double soft in this Grand Prix, he could be in for a very, very good strategy. As Lynx is into the pit lane, picks up a 5-second time penalty as well to boot. So I think he might have got a bit damaged, and he's retired from the Grand Prix. Unfortunate that we've lost someone so early in this French Grand Prix.
Oh, it's a bit of a shame, Max, that they've given up like that, because you do get a point if you do finish a race, and that's additional points even if you're in the points paying positions anyway. So we added this extra incentive to help the drivers, but for some drivers it hasn't helped them in the slightest. And we are starting to see, I think, the top 4 on the soft compounded tyres. Dainstar and George have gone for a different strategy compared to everybody else, and that's helped Bryn a little bit on the Michel Straight, heading towards turn number 8, as I called it Mulsanne Straight last week, but we were talking about France. As Bryn covers him off nicely, but Dainstar is right on the gearbox of him. I wonder if Dainstar is running a bit lower downforce compared to Bryn on this exit in towards turn number 10. He's trying to get the better run. You don't want to be running too close to the dirty area. It's going to hinder the car's performance. But now in towards turn 11, Dainstar, I think, is going to back out of this. Yes, he's going to back out of this. DRS will be enabled next lap. And I am starting to see certain tyres going to play. Nath Clark has been pushing quite a bit more on his fronts a little bit compared to everybody else. Everyone else is around about the 10% mark in terms of their tyre wear. So everyone is roughly about the same. A few people just dropping off, just saving their battery for this point so they can stretch out the bit of their soft compounded tyres. And we can see the two Mercedes working together in the background there. Samba Just holding on to Ben Mills. Stamper doing a cracking job, but Ben is hanging in there. He's got the DRS. He's going to have the power heading towards turn 8 later on.
Yeah, Ben's done a really good job here to stick with Nathan Samper. He's also used less battery as well. So I feel like for Ben, he's just been getting into that rhythm. And maybe Nathan's lap might have been a bit more of an easier one to beat for the likes of Ben and Aiden. But Ben will have DRS this time around. If he goes for the move, that might be another question. I feel like he'll just sit behind and be happy to sit in this DRS because he's got no threat from behind. But talking about threats from behind, ERT Bryn has just got past Nave Clark there with the DRS down the Mistral straight. He's gone deep into the corner though. This is going to affect his run through turn 9, but Nave Clark gets quite a sloppy run as well out the corner. He can't capitalise on the mistake that Bryn made. So Bryn up into 4th place. It's been a really good drive here from the AlphaTauri man. He's now just got a DRS as Ben Mills is getting closer to Nathan Samba, not going to make the move. But this top 3 very, very close together. And Ben, he might have to make the move sooner than later. But I reckon Aiden isn't really rushing him too much because, of course, these guys just want to save their tyres slightly until the end of this stint.
Yes, I think so. I'm looking at Samba and Ben's battery. Ben especially has got a lot of battery saved up. He's got 83%, and I've noticed it in my P3 race earlier on. When you use up battery, it is hard to recharge around here. And I think you only gain quite a bit in terms of the pit stops. So, and even if you're not using ERS, it depletes very quickly. So these drivers got to be careful to not use it up too much in these early stages because it will run out towards the end of the Grand Prix. So it comes to mind the likes of George, Nate Clark especially as well. And I think that's it. Everyone else is roughly at about 60-70%. So they should be A-OK for this first half of the race. But Ben Mills is going to try and challenge right now. He's going to go for it. He used a bit of his overtake. I think he only used about 2 or 3% battery there on this straight. And here he goes. Ben to the lead this Grand Prix. And I wonder if it's just a tactic that's going to be switched around between these two for the rest of this stint before they go on to the medium compound tyres, which I would expect to be in a few laps' time as Nathan Samba tries to go again up the inside in towards turn number 10. Nicely done from the Ferrari driver. An unconventional move that we weren't expecting, but absolutely beautiful from Samba. He takes the lead.
Yeah, Nathan, I think, just wants to lead this one and just manage that pace perfectly for him. But Ben Mills wants to think otherwise, and now then he wants to manage it at his pace. I think he thinks that Nathan Samba's going a little bit too slow for his liking and backing him up into Aiden behind, but that was really nicely done there from Nathan. Saw the opportunity to go up the inside through turn 10 and pulled it off absolutely perfectly. Aiden behind, not getting close enough for a move on Ben Mills. Bryn is slowly catching up to his teammate, but that's sort of being helped by the scrap between the top 2 in front of Aiden there. So there's actually a big slide there for Bryn off the exit of turn 2. Good car control to keep that one in a straight line. But 2 drivers you need to look out for here. George and Danestar on those medium compound tyres, still within this train and not really looking like they've got too little speed. Nave Clark with a big slide that could allow Danestar to capitalise as we now head down the straight. DRS will be open for the Red Bull, but also for the Alfa Romeo. Ben Mills going to go for the move on Nathan Samba. He gets that one done. Danestar pulls to the inside. So does George as well. We could be 3 wides into turn 7. Danestar gets the move done. Now Nave Clark might even lose the position to George. Round the outside goes the Ferrari, and the Scarlet Red car goes in front of the Alfa Romeo, but he's not going to give this one up, is Nave Clark. He's going to go to the inside through turn 10, and he gets the move redone, and he's back up into 6th place. Beautiful battle in between the pair. George sends a nose back up the inside into turn 11. It'll be the outside for turn number 12, the non-optimal line here for George, but he can get a good run off the corner. Nave Clark's had a bit of a slide there with the oversteer, and eventually, after all that battling throughout that middle and final part of the lap, George gets to position away from Nave Clark, and I think those soft tyres are starting to fade here, Jess, because a lot of these guys are struggling for rear traction.
And we got the likes of Casper, who's coming into the pit. He's going very early for their set of medium tyres, but Colin feels like his tyres are giving up the ghost, so he's coming for a set of the mediums. I would expect, I think, a lot of these drivers to pit at the end of this lap or next lap. And if your teammate is nearby, I think one of them will have to sacrifice the position a little bit and try and close in at the latter stages. So usually when I'm in a party with someone, if I'm their teammate, usually the one who's at the front gets a priority usually, because that pretty much helps our communication a little bit. If you're near the back, then if you're behind your teammate, then really you will have to sacrifice for a little bit. That is a danger sometimes, but if there's a safety car, obviously that they will give them some chance for that. So I would expect Aiden to come in this lap, I would say. Maybe even the likes of Samba, who's in that sandwich now, just to gain all that time. And that will promote Danestar to the race lead. I think this is Danestar's best race so far. It's great to see him performing to his potential. One thing I forgot to mention about this, France, it can be an absolute killer in terms of penalties. I mean, we got everyone's TAS information this week, so no TAS penalties for everyone, yay. I'm a bit surprised that only a few drivers have got warnings so far. Danestar's got one, so has George, so has Owen Wyatt. Nick's got one as well, Jaco. Matt has got one. Casper's got two. Everyone else is completely clean in terms of warnings. Bryn's in, and so is Owen Wyatt and Nick. And surprisingly, the top two have stayed out.
Yeah, I mean, of course, they've been managing their tyres quite well. They've not really had to lean on them too much in this Grand Prix, so they could probably go 2 or 3 laps longer than everybody else. Bryn being in first, though, it is quite a surprise, knowing that Aiden was in front, and this could give Bryn a really good undercut opportunity on the front 3 guys. So we'll see where he comes out in relation to the likes of Ben Mills, Nathan Samba, and Aiden later on in this Grand Prix, when those guys eventually decide to come into the pit lane. It's now really the top 4 leading this one. George, unfortunately, has dropped away from Danestar, and there goes Nave Clark to the inside with the DRS, getting the move done very nicely on the brakes for the Alfa Romeo driver. But for Aiden, he's just sitting in behind. He's not really done too much in this Grand Prix. He's just sort of been sitting there waiting for an opportunity. But I would expect the top 3 in either this lap or the next. George to the inside of Nave Clark once more. It's a repeat of what happened only 2 laps ago. And through goes George once more through turn 11. He's had a big slide though on the exit. Here comes Nave Clark to the outside, but he can't get the move done. He doesn't have enough purchase from those fronts on those soft compounder tyres. And now, is anyone coming into the pit lane? Yes, Ben Mills is the first to blink out of that top 3, and he comes into the pit lane and pulls the trigger. And also, where does Bryn come out in relation to the Williams man?
Nate Clark is also into the pits as well, so he was following Ben through too, but the undercut, it is quite powerful around it. I think it's about 20 or so seconds that you lose in the pit lane, so probably even 22 seconds, so it is quite a bit of pit loss. So the sooner that you make your pit stops, really, the better. I was expecting everybody to jump into the box right now, but I'm guessing Nat, Samba and Aiden wanting to stretch out those softs just for a little bit longer. But you can see Danestar is all over the back of these guys. So if I were them, I would pit. I'm looking at Samba's tyres. 46% on the fronts. Aiden's 43% on the fronts. Danestar is about 10% less wear compared to the top 2. So they're really gaining on it so far, and he's pretty much got even tyre wear, so it just suggests that he's controlling the steering a bit more as well, which is great to see. The differential is more is liking too, so that's going to help him a little bit. So Danestar will inherit the race lead. Ben has been passed by Bryn, and Bryn on the warmer tyres, that's definitely helped him a little bit, and Bryn is up into the race lead of the net race lead of this Grand Prix. And I wonder if it was tactical for Ben, or Bryn just had the better traction coming out of the chicane.
It was really just all DRS heading down that main straight, as now Nathan and Aiden do come into the pit lane in reaction. I feel like they're to Ben Mills' pits, that we'll see where Bryn and Ben come out in relation to Nathan and Aiden here. You can see Danestar now taking the race lead from George, then Larkin, J. Cole, and Matter, the drivers, not to make their first pit stops in this Grand Prix just yet. There we go, Nathan into the pit lane. Ben's coming through the final corner with Bryn. They will probably jump these 2 now, and we'll see by how much. You see Bryn now. You see him pass, and well clear are both Ben and Bryn. Only 2 laps is the difference between Bryn's tyres and Nathan Samba. But around a circuit like this, which is big on tyre wear, and there's a big slide as well from Bryn, that's not going to help the tyres either. those 2 laps, give it another 5 or 6, could be a crucial changing factor in this Grand Prix. Ben all over the back of Bryn as we now head through the long right hand, which then leads you onto the Mistral straight. Flick it through turn 6 and it will be DRS open. Bryn's had a horrid run through turn 6 as well, so it's going to make Ben Mills an easier opportunity to make the overtake on Bryn, and he's up into 6th place. There is the Williams driver. He's got his teammate in front of him who'll probably just let him through quite easily, but for Ben Mills, he's back up into the race lead and has got quite a healthy margin to Nathan Samba behind. All he has to worry about is the AlphaTauri of Bryn, who, to be honest, isn't too much of a threat at this stage in this Grand Prix. And guess who's in front of Ben Mills? It is his teammate, so I wonder if Mata is going to help him a little bit as well. No, Bryn follows Ben through. So that is very, very good from the both of them as well, that they were able to dodge that. The medium runners are starting to come in. We've got Danestar, George and Larkin that are coming in. The stewards have told these drivers that they must follow the white line heading into the pit lane. They can't cut it, and if we see any instances of that, they will get some time penalties. So we will keep an eye on that to see what happens, as Ben Mills just set the fastest lap of this Grand Prix so far. Is a danger that Ben Mills might be pushing a little bit too much early on compared to the likes of Samba, but obviously Samba did pit quite late on as well. I'm keeping an eye on Bryn's tyres. Bryn is struggling a little bit, but again, he tried to get the undercut as well. Maybe that's hindering a little bit. Oh no, George is getting the penalty. First time penalty of the session, which is not speeding in the pit lane. So I am a bit surprised that it only took to lap 10 to do that. I thought we would have seen a lot more at some point. Bryn's going to try and go for the move then on the straight, but Ben cuts off very nicely and Ben stays in 2nd place. J. Cole stays out, but I would expect him to pit this lap as well. Owen White and Casper having a little bit of a ding-dong battle as well. We got Casper pulling to the right-hand side in towards turn 8 and in towards turn 9. And I think it's going to be close between these guys. They've been fighting a lot this season, these two. And it's always nice to see them battling like this. So they head towards turn number 10 now. And Colin is in 8th place. But Casper around the outside cuts off Owen. And he does a really great job with that. So Casper stays in 9th on the road as well. But there's a 4-car train for 8th place and potentially 7th as well. These 4 are doing a great job. Casper, on the other hand, does get a time penalty, which is a bit of a shame. But Jay Galt, the last one to do his first stop, and he's coming in right now. So that will push Ben to the on-track race leader as well. Yeah, nicely done there from Casper to get the move from Owen White, which he originally lost into the chicane, and unfortunately picked up a 3-second time penalty alongside it as well. So he'll probably come the end of the Grand Prix if Owen doesn't pick up a penalty, lose that place that he's just worked so hard for. Danestar all over the back of Nave Clark. He's had a really good run through turns 3 and now into 4 and 5. And for Danestar, he's all over the back of the Alfa Romeo. And he's a good run now out of turn 6 to then give him the best launch down the straight. He's going to use his battery, use a bit of DRS as well. Bryn is able to get past Ben Mills, and so is Nathan Samba. He's able to get past his rival for this Grand Prix. Danestar is able to get past Nave Clark with the DRS, but crucial there for Ben Mills. He's fallen behind Nathan Samba, and talking about Nathan, he's going to the inside of Bryn. The Ferrari versus the AlphaTauri, the 2 Italian teams in Formula 1. To the inside goes Nathan Samba, and there we go. He's up into the race lead once more, but doesn't have much battery compared to the two behind. But for Nathan Samba, I don't think he'll care about that just now, but he's in the lead of the Grand Prix, and he's got a driver on 2-lap older tyres behind him who could be holding up Ben Mills ever so slightly.
This was a brilliant from Nathan Samba. He kept it controlled very nicely indeed. Is he going to be able to stretch that gap on the other 2 drivers? Meanwhile, George has gone for the soft tyre strategy, which it is interesting. I was not expecting him to do softs this early on, so I want to be doing 2 soft stint strategy. A few people only did 1 run in qualifying, but we can see George is going to maybe get a run on Casper to the inside a little bit, but doesn't do it at the moment, so he's probably saving a little bit. Once again, he's got a beautiful run in turn 2, now in towards turn 3 now, which I don't really call a corner. He's going to go to the right-hand side, and beautiful stuff from the Ferrari team. Samba in the lead, and George getting past Casper is great for them. and George is pretty much trying to get rid of that deficit in terms of his 3-second time penalty. He's now going to be chasing down Colin R. Mason for P7 on the road then, as he's got his battery to put to good use. So here is George now. Here he comes. He's going to try and get past Colin now. I don't think Colin is going to fight this one because obviously George has a penalty. There he goes. George up into 7th on the road now. So doing a great job there. Make sure you do leave us a like on this video and hit subscribe if you haven't already. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at OneHub as well, as we got side-by-side action with the likes of Colin and Casper. I think, no, Colin's caught up the back of George again. So Colin must have found a little bit of life on his tyres then.
Yeah, I think Colin really just let George through there due to the fact, of course, George is on those soft compounded tyres and also with the penalty as well, as you said. But he's dropped off again slightly, but George does have the better grip at this stage and the more pace than the medium runners because, of course, those soft tyres are still well within their operating window. Aiden's just fallen out of the DRS of Ben Mills as we headed down into a lot to catch up to that top 4. And overall, it's been a bit of a struggle in this second stint for Aiden. He's been on the back foot because, of course, he's been undercut by the likes of Ben Mills and Bryn. And he really had to work to catch up to the rest of the grid. But look at that. Nathan Samba out of DRS of Bryn.
Wow.
Bryn really struggling here. Ben Mills needs to make the move now, in which he does with the DRS. And maybe use a bit more battery just to get within the DRS of Nathan Samba. He doesn't do so, but using that overspeed through the chicane, he might be able to. Flicks down to 0.9, but then back up to a second. Owen White and Casper battling further back. Owen White with the move done with the DRS. But for Nathan Samba, he's broken that second, and that could be the reins sort of taken off him. He's been unleashed, and give it maybe another lap or so, he could be gone down the road. So we'll just have to wait and see. But Ben Mills, he's got a big task on his hands to try and get back within that DRS. 2 temps don't seem like much, but against Nathan Samba, it's an incredibly tricky task.
That's the danger of maybe pushing too much for Ben. He pushed maybe too early on his front a little bit. But despite the fact that Samba has been on those tyres 4 laps and Ben Mills has been on those tyres for 5 laps, I'm starting to see not much difference between the tyres, only 3% on the front. So I wonder if Ben is being a bit more conservative at this point, knowing that he may have to pit soon as well, and maybe going for that cheeky undercut to see what it's going to be like towards the end of the race, maybe, and then push at the end, potentially. Or could he hope for a safety car as well? But we know what the 2 Alpha Tauris are like. They are leading the constructors for a reason. They are working very well together. They're usually in a Discord chat with each other, just looking at terms of strategies, and we know they're going to do all they can to get the best out of each other. I'm watching Bryn's pace at the moment. The difference between 2-lap-old tyres compared to 2-lap newer tyres is absolutely massive. So maybe him pitting earlier than I was expecting is not helping him whatsoever, but it's helping him try and catch up to Ben Mills. So it's a really good fight between the 2 of them, which I think is going to really go on towards the end of that one as well. Meanwhile, Danestar, who's still got some softs left to play, I think, he's going to be a little bit vulnerable towards the end as Bryn and Ben Mills fighting in the background as Bryn, round the outside he goes, and he's up to P2 on the road now. Brilliant stuff. And I wonder if Ada was going to try and do the same thing. No, he's not going to do the same thing, so he's going to stay behind for now. But Bryn looking racy. His tyres is probably more worn than Ben, but I think that might help him a little bit. And Ben Mills, Ben is pitting earlier than Bryn. Ben's gone for the undercut. Interesting.
He's gone for the undercut, but this is very early. You have to, of course, these mediums will make it to the end if he goes on to another set, of course, starting on the softs. But it will be an incredibly tricky challenge to maybe keep the cars behind that he is undercutting. So there we go, fresh set of medium tyres onto the Williams. He'll have some clean air because, of course, he'll come out in front of his teammate and behind J. Cole, so he can push as much as he wants in that clean air. And we'll see where he will come out in relation to everybody else who'll box, I would say, another maybe 5 or 6 laps later than Ben Mills in this one. We'll just have to wait and see. But back up at the front, 2.2 is the gap between Bryn and Nathan Samba. Is Aiden getting close enough for a move on Bryn? No, he's not. He's just going to have to sit behind, heading down into the chicane. So he's not able to get past his teammate just yet. But of course, Bryn and Aiden working really well together all season and probably the overall best driver pairing on the grid. So Aiden all over the back of his teammate. He's going to look to the inside for turn number 11. And as easy as you like, he gets the move done and is up into second place. He'll try now help his teammate catch up to Nathan Samba in front. But I think Nathan Samba's gone in this one, and it'll be an incredibly tricky task to catch back up to him unless you're Ben Mills doing the undercut. So we'll wait and see if Bryn comes into the pit lane. No, he does not. I do think Ben's gone a little too early in this one, and he's going to struggle later on. But we can only wait and see what happens in this Grand Prix. Larkin all over the back of Owen Wyatt. There is that's also George into the pit lane off those soft compounder tyres. Colin into the pit lane as well. So luckily for Ben Mills, I would reckon he would have all this clean out until everybody in front of him pits. And then we'll see where he comes out compared to Nathan Samba. The gap currently between him and Nathan is about, if it changes, 23 seconds. So he needs to find at least 3 or 4 more to really be within undercut territory of Nathan Samba there. But of course, it's still got a long race ahead. Laps 16 to 27. 11 laps to go in this one. And Nathan still leading the way. And by quite a comfortable margin. And Bryn and Aiden swap places once more.
Yes, Bryn and Aiden swap once more. And I wonder if there's going to be some teamwork being played. No, Danestar has a penalty. Danestar has a penalty, which may hinder him towards the end of this race. But Larkin up the inside of Owen Wyatt in towards turn 8. But Owen's going to try for the switchback as well towards turn 9. But he stays behind as well. Owen is not driving that bad, to be honest, in this race. And he's doing quite decent to climb his way up through the field. He's starting 10th or 11th, I think, as well. Again, you don't want to be too close for the dirty air. Larkin's running out of ERS as well. And trail braking, I think, is very, very key around these sets of corners, as I was saying. And he's heading towards 10, 11, and 12 now. So they're going to stay around. Nathan Samba, 2.5 seconds separating between the two of them as well. And DRS chicken is going to come into play between the likes of Bryn and Aiden. I know what these guys at the front are doing. They haven't come in yet. They're probably either going to go this lap, pit onto mediums, or pit in about 3 or 4 laps time and go for the softs. If I were them, I would go on the mediums at the end of this lap. They will get 10 laps comfortably to the end. Owen White and Nick are going to be doing so right now, so they're coming in for 7 mediums as well. Don't forget, mandatory 2-stop in this league for one-hand racing. If you do not do it, you will get disqualified. And I think if I was Bryn, I would come into the pits now, and then Aiden maybe a lap after. So I think they're just going to DRS each other through the straight just to gain a lot of time over the likes of Ben Mills and Nathan Samba, which is great tactics for them, I think. So if your teammates are not that far off each other, you use a DRS. Just give a toe on the back straight. It will gain you loads of time.
Yeah, that's really all it is. And I mean, it's going to be so maybe interesting to see how that one plays out. But overall, it's all up to what the drivers do. And when you were talking about the strategy, I mean, I reckon for Nathan, I reckon the softs could be the best choice for him, not going to lie.
He'll be ahead anyway.
Because, yeah, he's got such a big gap where I reckon him going onto the softs could be absolutely brilliant, but he's in already. So is Bryn as well. Bryn's jumped his teammate Aiden once more when it comes to the strategy. So Aiden obviously happy to keep staying out that extra lap. Where does Nathan Samba come out in relation to Ben Mills? Ben heading through the penultimate corner, which then leads into the final corner. Luckily, he's not really had too much traffic to deal with during this undercut attempt. He'll have 3 lap older tyres than the Ferrari. He's heading up the pit lane now, is Nathan Samba, and Ben Mills is ahead, and by quite a comfortable margin from the Ferrari. So Nathan Samba will now have to hunt down Ben Mills once more. Ben is just sort of hoping he does not get caught, he does not catch this traffic at a very risky place. He's 1.9 seconds behind Casper now, so he's sort of got to pray he doesn't catch him in that final sector, and they all come into the pit lane. We can only wait and see, though, as this race progresses. Lap 18 of 27, Ben Mills' gap to who was the race leader, Nathan Samba, 3.4. That gap will come down, though, come the end of the Grand Prix, because, of course, those 3 lap older medium compounder tyres will hit the cliff a lot quicker than Nathan Samber's, and it could be a real struggle come the end of the Grand Prix for Ben if he can hang on to this net P1. Nate Clark able to get past Matter there. Up into P9 goes the Alfa Romeo. Nicely done there for Nave Clark. Ben Mills 1.2 now. I think he's just going to get lucky here if the likes of Larkin and Casper come into the pit lane. He'll only have to catch J. Cole, and I reckon he'll do that down the Mistral straight. So overall for Ben Mills, I think he's caught these guys at the right time. And Dane Stars picked up a 5-second time penalty to add more salt to the wound of that 3 seconds. Casper's into the pit lane. Lucky for Ben Mills there.
I thought it was Aiden that came in, but no, it was Casper. It looked like an AlphaTauri. Oh, it was Danestar.
And Ben Mills only has to worry about passing the 2 Alpines of J. Cole and Larkin, which could still be a tricky task knowing they're on the same team, but we'll have DRS to help, and also those fresher tyres. So for Ben Mills, it should be a relatively easy overtake, probably just held up slightly through this little complex of corners.
I know what Aiden's doing. I know what he's doing. I think he's going to do soft, medium, soft and try and help his teammate to climb his way up the field a little bit. So I wonder if that's going to be a hold-the-up situation as well for Aiden. Because if you pit now, you're going to lose a chunk of time. So why not go for the soft tires? Oh my God, it's going to be 3 wide heading into this Mistral straight. And Ben gets past the 2 Alpines up into second. He had to use a bit of overtake there, but there was no problem for him at all. So the ones who are going to stretch out a little bit, Jaco and Larkin, they started on mediums, pitted onto mediums. They're going to be going onto the soft tyres, so they can't really come in until maybe the end of this lap. I think end of this lap will be fine to go onto soft, or maybe end of next lap is pretty much the best strategy, I would say. Aiden's got a 5-second penalty as well. That can hinder his race. But it's just so easy to do around it, and that's going to, I think, costing time between himself, Bryn Samba, and Ben Mills. That is going. And look at this, Samba's already caught up to the back of the Alpine guys. I think this is Samba's race to lose. I think he's got this in the bag.
Yeah, he still has to pass Ben Mills, but that is looking to be a very easy task, and look at that. Just picked up the fastest lap of the Grand Prix with ease. Aiden onto softs. Danestar, of course, was onto the softs last time around and might actually get the undercut on the AlphaTauri here. To the inside goes Danestar, and he's up into 5th place. He managed to get that move nicely. Aiden did move slightly under braking, but overall for Danestar, he managed to get the move done as we now head through the middle part of the lap. The end of Sector 1, and then we start the middle part of the lap. Nathan Samba able to get past Larkin, so now the chase is on. 1.8 seconds is the gap between Nathan Samba and Ben Mills. 1.5 as we reach the chicane. So Nathan Samba has got 7 laps to try and close down on Ben Mills. 1.4 seconds. It looks like it really is going to be easy for him to do. And then he'll just have to try pull away from the Williams as well. So overall, Nathan Samba, it's been a really good drive from us. Knowing why it picks up a 3-second time penalty. And that's pretty much him going to be out of the points. Actually, no, sorry, points go down to 12. So he'll stay in the points for now, Will Owen Wyatt. But for Ben Mills, he's tried his best at this undercut. But Nathan Samba, breathing down his neck, he's not going to be able to keep hold of that race lead.
Yeah, I think I did say at the beginning, whilst we've gone, Samba was the favourite to win this Grand Prix due to the fact he has previous good history of the French Grand Prix in the past. And he hasn't proven me wrong so far. He's proven me definitely right. And I think it's going to be a question of when rather than if he gets past Ben, as Danestar now sets the fastest lap. Danestar, if you're inside the top 10, you get 2 points. If you get the fastest lap inside the top 10. If you're outside the top 10 and get the fastest lap, you then get 2 extra points as well. So that could be very huge as both Larkin and Jaco are on those soft tyres. I believe everybody has done their 2 stops now, according to yes, everyone has done their 2 stops. So that is good. No one has done an extra stop, which strongly suggests that most people have kept it relatively clean. Matter and Lynx, unfortunately, not had the best of races they had. They haven't had the opportunity to get involved in that many battles. As Aiden does get past Danestar, is what the movie definitely wanted to do. and he's up into 4th place, but I think he's going to be losing out quite a bit. But he's got to pull away from Danestar to make sure 4th place is his. What can Bryn do to help his teammate out a little bit? Because I can sense some teamwork being played once again.
Yeah, that is really what AlphaTauri want to do, is that teamwork. But Bryn, being 1.9 seconds up the road, of course, Aiden will catch with those soft compounded tyres. I reckon these two could just hold station slightly in this one, Bryn and Aiden. Of course, Aiden has that 5-second time penalty. He'll drop just behind Nath Clark as it stands. But for Bryn, this is a podium opportunity for him, and they don't really want Danestar to have a go and maybe mess that up. So for Aiden, it's probably just hold station, hold up Danestar behind, make sure you try to get out of the 5 seconds of Nath Clark as well, and just try and manage this race from so on. But look up at the front, Ben Mills is under a huge amount of pressure from Nathan Samba, and this should be an easy DRS move for the Ferrari. So here we go then. Out of turn 5, leads you into turn 6. Overtake is being used by Nathan Samba. DRS open to take the race lead. And there you go. As easy as you like, the momentum down that straight. And for Nathan Samba, excuse me, it was a nicely and easy done overtake. And he's now back up into that race lead and is now looking to stay there. Lap 22 of 27, the lead is... And that probably... unless something drastic happens in this Grand Prix, because Nathan Samba is flying and he's looking to pick up a 3rd race victory of the season.
And the 2nd race victory overall, I think, because I'm just trying to remember. I'm looking at the standings. It would help if I get the right standings up. Thank you very much. Come on, load SimGrid. There we go. So he's picked. Oh, so he's got 2. Yeah, he has got 2 race victories. 2 feature race victories. So yeah, he's been the first repeat winner for round 2 and 3. Won 2 races in a row. He got a 2nd place in round 4. The lowest he's finished was a DNF in round 1, and that was it. Apart from that, he's been pretty much either 1st or 2nd, which I have to say is incredible. Aiden has been quite consistent as well, but I think his form in this part of the race has probably hindered him a little bit. I know he's on softs now, but that penalty has not helped him one bit. Danestar can capitalise on this. Nath Clark can jump quite a bit, but I think he will need a safety car at this point, and I think it's going to be too late for a safety car. But you never know. Anything can happen in this P1 tier. And I'm just looking at Ben's tyres, Max. He's pretty much overshot on his tyres. 37% on the fronts, 32% on the rears, whereas Nathan Samba has got 10% more wear than Ben has, which has helped him a little bit. Aiden has got past Bryn, up to 3rd, and now Aiden's going to try and chase down Ben for an on-track 2nd place.
Yeah, with Ben, he tried the risky undercut. I did say this earlier on that he'll be struggling near the end of the Grand Prix for his tyres, and that really has happened. So for Ben, it's now just damage limitation. He's going to try just sit in this 2nd place. I'm surprised that Aiden and Bryn did swap places, maybe just so that Aiden can soldier on slightly, and of course Bryn not hold him up too much and put him under too much danger from Danestar behind. And of course, being on the soft compound tyres, he will be a lot quicker at this stage of the Grand Prix. They've broken out of Nath Clark's 5-second window, so overall now it's just going to be a race to the end between the likes of Aiden, Bryn and Danestar. So I mean, overall the 2 AlphaTauris, they work well together. They are, as I say, the best driver pairing on the grid in my opinion, for out and out pace and also teamwork itself. So they're looking strong for the Constructors' Championship. Of course, I think AlphaTauri won it last season as well, if I'm correct. As George has picked up a 3-second time penalty now, that will hurt his race a little bit more, and it will fall behind Colin at the very least. But for Ben Mills, he's still within the DRS of Nathan Samba. He's still just trundling along behind. And I reckon maybe, if he's able to save up a bit of battery here, Ben Mills, he might be able to go for a last lap move if he's able to stick within that sort of 4/10, 5/10 range within the DRS as Danestar not close enough to make a move on Bryn, pushing Bryn through the corner and causing him to have a big slide there was Danestar. They could be going side by side up into turn 10, but no, Danestar not being able to get close enough in that slipstream. What about into turn 11 though? Will the Red Bull be brave enough to make a lunge on the brakes? Casper picks up a 3-second time penalty, but no, Danestar sitting behind once more. But for Ben Mills, he's still got some pace on those mediums because he's still only 3 tenths behind. This race might not be over yet.
No. I wonder if Ben was saving a little bit and maybe Samba was pushing too much. You're right. This could be very interesting. Or it might be that Ben is better at the end stint than in the middle stint. We don't know. So grab your popcorn. This is going to be really, really great finish to the end of this one. And we've got Ben who's chasing him down as well. Just look at the pace. He's on much worn tyres. And he's able to keep up with Samba. Or maybe Samba is saving a bit of his tyre wear and then going to push towards the end of this race. I think that's what potentially he's doing, because he's got a bit of battery that he's trying to save right now. But it's really hard to tell, because there's about 3 tenths in it between Nathan Samba and Ben Mills. So it might have been he's just not comfortable on low fuel on the mediums Samba compared to Ben Mills. But Ben is going to try and challenge Samba for the race lead. I don't think Samba's going to challenge this one bit. He's going to wait off in the penultimate lap, I think. Ben gets P1 for now, and it's going to be closer than we think. No one has got time penalties in the top 2. They only got 1 warning, so they can pretty much afford to push if they want to. Bryn's got 2 warnings. Danestar's obviously got 3, so he's got 3-second time penalty. Nate Clark's got 2 as well. And the ones who are in danger of getting a penalty are the likes of Colin, Jaco, Nick as well, Larkin and Matter. They're in danger of getting 3-second time penalties, which could hinder their race a little bit. Meanwhile, Danestar to try and do the up and over. We've got a bit squirmy through the exit of turn 11, 9 towards turn 12. You can see Britain is running out of battery very, very rapidly, whereas Danestar has got more to use a little bit. I think they're both running out of battery, so they're both going to struggle in these final few laps. I did say don't use too much up at the start, and it will hit you a little bit. And these two, it's just coming back to bite them at this stage. And Samba's going to fight once again. Oh, I can't wait until the end of this one. It is closer than we thought. I think Ben's probably, the tyres has probably have got the second wind at the moment.
Yeah, they certainly do. Casper's come back into the pit lane for another pit stop, so that's him not going to be scoring any points at the moment, of course, other than the point you get for finishing the Grand Prix. So for Ben Mills, Nathan Samba's probably going to sit behind. It'll be the smart choice for the Ferrari, because of course it will allow Ben Mills to get another burst of DRS heading down this Mistral straight next time around, and he does. He's elected to sit behind the Williams. It will be a grandstand finish between the pair. Lap 26 of 27. You've also got to look out for behind between Bryn and Danestar. George is able to get past Nave Clark. He's up into 6th place there. Now is George, and Nave Clark picks up a 3-second time penalty. But of course, I think George has 6. I'll quickly run through the penalties now. Aiden with 5. As now here comes Danestar to the inside of Bryn. The Red Bull. Is he going to finally take his opportunity? Yes, he is, to the inside. There's contact made. A big slide from Bryn. But Danestar is able to hang on to 4th place. He gets it on the road. But talking about the penalties, Danestar with 8, Aiden with 5, Nave Clark with 3, George with 6, Owen with 3, and Casper with 6 as well. But we are about to start the final lap of proceedings. Nathan Samba chasing down Ben Mills. The Williams is all under all kinds of pressure from the Ferrari behind. Heading into turns 1 and 2 now. These are going to be so crucial for the pair of them. They need to now get the next complex of corners of turns 3, 4 and 5 absolutely perfectly. Ben's got a bit wide through 4. That's going to compromise his run into 5. It's all about this exit now. You cannot afford any loss of traction.
Samba's got this, I think.
5.
He's
now,
closing.
Now through turn 6. DRS will be open for Nathan Samba. He's going to pull to that inside line using the battery. He gets the move done. Beautiful. But Ben Mills will have a second chance to attack heading into turn 11. That is where the slipstream is so key. He needs a good run out of here. Nathan Samba's got a superb exit out of turn 8. But here comes the slipstream. Here comes the battery from Ben Mills. Is he going to get close enough? I don't think he is. But he's gaining and gaining into turn 11. But just not close enough, as he's all over the back of the Ferrari, but can't get a little lunge to the inside. There's a yellow flag in Sector 1. That is for Mata at the back. He's ahead of Casper, down in 13th place. Nathan Sambalo only has 2 more corners to go in this Grand Prix. Now, heading through turn number 14. Len into the final corner. It has been an absolute masterclass on the strategy front. It's not been as easy as he's expected it, but Nathan Samba, he makes it free. Third time lucky, he wins the French Grand Prix, and he's made it the first driver to win 3 Grand Prix this season. And for Nathan Samba, an awesome drive from him. Ben Mills as well, tried everything, but at the end, just wasn't able to hold on. And then, of course, Bryn in 3rd. Aiden, of course, finishing 4th after his penalty. And then Dainstar rounding out that top 5. But Jess, what an end to the Grand Prix we had. We thought it was over when Nathan Samba made the move, but Ben Mills proved us wrong.
I'm looking at Ben's tyres at the end of that race. 58% on the fronts. And he still managed to get to the end of this Grand Prix. That is insane. And they were still able to get Ben last lap, he did a 32.9, which I have to say is still quite incredible. And they were about, and then Samba gained, I think, 8 or 9 tenths on the line. So Samba did a great job there. Casper got getting the fastest lap of the race. Oh, it's going to be so hard to pick driver of the day. We had no safety cars, no VSC. It's been generally quite clean. And J. Cole did well to recover from their engine penalty as well. And Larkin to Casper, maybe not so much, but I'm sure obviously they got their engine penalties done and dusted. Now that can help him a little bit. But we'll run through your order right now. Samba wins this race and extends his championship lead. Ben, I think, might... No, he doesn't. He might even get the championship lead. Sorry, Aiden was leading the championship, so I think Samba will get it potentially. I don't know. Or Aiden might have keep it. We'll wait until the results are up and Singrid to find that out. But anyway, Samba wins from Ben. Bryn in 3rd. And we've got Aiden, Damestar, Nate Clark, Colin, George, Jaco, and Larkin, your top 10. Then we've got Nick, Owen, Matta, Casper, your top 14. And your only DNF belongs to Lynx. Casper gets us the fastest lap outside the top 10. Inside the top 10 belongs to Aiden, I believe. Yeah, Aiden gets the fastest lap inside the top 10. So they get 2 additional points. Max, I'm going to hand it over to you to pick your drive of the day first, because we got to pick one each. Who would you want to give your drive of the day to, and what would you like to ask him?
Oh, tricky question. I'm going to give it to... I'm going to give it to Ben Mills. And I'm going to ask him, was that undercut originally planned from the start of the race, or was it just a spur of the moment thing and you decided, you know what, let's go for it? That
is a good suggestion. Now, I am torn. I'm not usually torn. I usually tend to pick the race winner. I am tempted to pick that as well. I would have given it to Dainstar, but he's got those 8 seconds of penalties. Did not help him, but he got his best result of the season. Bryn did well to cover to 3rd as well. You know what? Nathan Samba drove amazingly today. He was able to hold on Ben for so long, and his qualifying lap was sensational as well. If it wasn't for those penalties, I would have given it to Dainstar, but because Samba picked up no penalties and how he controlled the field at the end and put the pressure on Ben Mills, I'm going to have to give it to Samba. It's the same drive of the day as we given last week, but we given them the opposite way round. You nominated Samba last week and I nominated Ben, and now it's the other way round, which is weird. Anyway, my question is, another race victory to your name. Does that give you a fighting chance for the title now? Do you think you could see yourself winning the title come the end of the season? So that is my question for him, and obviously massive congratulations to him as well. Any final thoughts, Matt, before we go through our sponsors, because we head to round number 6 next week. Austria sprint race, reverse championship order. So Samba, who started right at the front for the first sprint race, he's going to be starting right near the back this time. That's going to change everything, but we've seen people come near the back before.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Of course, Austria, a circuit, again, a lot of overtaking opportunities, a circuit where it's easy to make the moves, but DRS trains are quite big around there. and it's an easy circuit, so it can appeal to a lot of the drivers, and it could be a very close field come the end of that Grand Prix. So it's going to be an exciting one. Austria always delivers on the F1 games, and maybe, depending on how this adaptive weather system goes, maybe expect a little bit of rain. We can only wait and see what happens with that, though. But overall, it's been a fantastic race here today. Thank you all for supporting us and watching. But yeah, I feel like Austria next week going to be a very, very exciting sprint and feature race.
Yeah, and I hope you all stay tuned for next week as well. The only wet effective race we had was last week around Netherlands. We also had the sprint race as well. So I think there's going to be high chance that it is going to rain around Austria. And I pray for my race is going to rain, because I do better in the rain around Austria than I do in the dry. So I'm going to be doing the rain dance for next week. And I'm sure other people will be as well. But for one final time, let's go through our sponsors, shall we? Next Level Racing, we just announced earlier on this today that we are providing free Next Level Racing prizes. The Drivers' Championship each year will be win a chance to win a Next Level Racing cockpit worth £449, an NLR FGT cockpit. The top three, they've got 2 opportunities to win to Next Level Racing prizes. The first one, a FGT Light cockpit worth £279, and then a wheel stand 2.0 as well. They get a chance to win that. Also, Aztec Sim Sports, the winner of the One Hub Racing Driver Rankings, will win some merch from their store. Pure Sim Gear, they will win some free items from their store as well. That goes to the driver with the most combined poles and fastest laps. Our partners, Vespa Team, supporting our championship apparel. ERT, Elite Racing Team, ERT Esports, they are providing our trophies and sponsor the league as well. And also our partner, the Go Gets Tap Award, and they get some merch from that if they win that. And finally, to our partners at SimGrid, they provide our community and platform and have all the lovely standings as well. So for myself and Max, we will see you same time next week, 8 o'clock, for the Austrian Grand Prix sprint race, reverse championship order. So the ones who didn't get a good race in the last couple of rounds, they get a chance to make amends from this week. I've been Jess Ball, Max has been Max Farin. We will see you next week for the Austrian Grand Prix. Should be a good one. Bye-bye.